And we are back. Welcome, guys. My name is DK, and in this video, we're going to be breaking down the 4-game NBA Summer League DFS slate. We basically have no other sports going on right now. MLB is All-Star break, so not much going on. So highly recommend all you guys jump in and play some Summer League DFS. Again, 10K to first, decent size contests. If this is your first time watching, I cover content for DFS, prize picks, underdog, parlay play. Parlay play, they are the sponsor of today's video. They also do have Summer League props if you guys are interested in that. But basically how it works is you're building out slips of player props. They have alt lines as well, so would definitely recommend them. You can use the code DKDFS or the link down below for a $100 deposit match bonus. And if you do, if you're a first-time user and you deposit using my code or by clicking the link, it really does help support the channel, so greatly appreciate that. And if you guys look for more content, you can check my Patreon linked down below. So let's recap the last few days here, and then we can get into the breakdown. So last few days, it's been a movie, man. Summer League's been amazing. So we are 3 days in, and this is how the last 3 days have gone. It's been phenomenal. So we can take a look at a couple of lineups here. Let's take a look at my main slate lineup last night. So last night I finished 5th in high stakes. Nothing crazy, but Hunter Tyson, man, that guy can kick rocks. So I'll just say that. I mean, my God, he shot like 1 of 10. I had his props too. Just insane stuff. But so I went with Hawkins, Bouye, Sanogo, Tyson, Hall, Stewart, Plowden, and Podziemski. So Hawkins was a guy that I was pretty set on playing. I mean, that Pelicans roster is really not great. He once again did not shoot well. Still had an okay DFS game, but Hawkins back-to-back games where he has shot really, really bad. Bouye is someone that became one of the better values on the board once we got news that both Stephen Castle and David Duke were out. Sanogo, the Bulls kind of trolled. They said he wasn't starting, but then he did start. Again, Tyson shot awful. PJ Hall was one of the better values on the board, especially with no more Holmes. DJ Stewart is someone I really like for value. Plowden, and then Podziemski. So that was my main slate lineup. Again, I had a good day for WNBA as well. Almost had a takedown there, and then won the early slate yesterday. This is my early slate lineup. We can go over that, and then we can take a look at my main slate lineup from 2 days ago, because I didn't make a video yesterday, and then we'll get into the video. So once this loads up, again, I have so many tabs open, so my computer's been running a bit slow. But that's Summer League DFS for you. Ty Washington, again, full pain from that. He ended up getting the start. He shot like 1 of 9, and Milwaukee lost by like 50. Cleveland had 72 points at half, which was wild. But basically, the rest of my lineup did very well. Deshaun Nix, Quentin Jackson were 2 guys that were pretty popular value plays. Nix absolutely smashed. Keon Johnson was someone I was very high on. Again, the Nets really struggled in the first half, but kind of picked up there in the second half. I went to Jarris Walker as one of my spend ups. Orlando Robinson, again, center was pretty gross. I was kind of banking on him starting. He didn't. He came out the bench, but he still smashed off the bench. And then ran Whitmore and Johnny Davis. So won the early slate. Again, contests were pretty small in the early slate. So would have wished the contests were a little bit bigger. And then this was my main slate lineup from Saturday. So again, we've taken down every single day. Been great stuff. And hopefully we can keep it going for the main slate today. So this is my main slate lineup on Saturday. I was pretty high on that Utah-Dallas game. But yeah, Thunder, AJ Mitchell, and Jones, again, I think they had 27 points at halftime, which was pretty tilting, but they both picked up there in the second half. Prosper shot awful. I went to AJ Lawson and Prosper, Collier, and then Filipowski. So we got news like 2 minutes before lock that Kenny Lofton was not starting. So I was able to get that swap in. Carlson for value, and then David Roddy is kind of my contrarian spend up, who also shot awful, but still won this one as well. And props on Saturday, we almost had a full sweep. Almost went 12-0. The only misses I had were Chris Murray had his over 10.5 points. He finished with 9. And then I had the over on Prosper, 18.5 PRA, and he finished with 18. But yeah, won over $1,000 from props on Saturday. So it was great to see. Sanogo was someone that I was all over. His props are way too low. And then a couple of big winners. Again, we've been having this every single day, but wanted to shout out a few people here. That's like $100 into like $1,100. Another like $1,500 win, $100 into $2,000, $180 into $1,200. So it's been a lot of fun. Again, if you guys are interested in joining, you can check out my Patreon link down below. We're doing props, we're doing DFS. there's very little sleep for me for the summer league. I'm sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a day. We're just grinding 24/7, but I love it. I really do love the grind. And yeah, all right, let's get into the breakdown now. Okay, so Dallas and Memphis is the first game here. So for Dallas, top 3 guys, you got Prosper, Williams, and Lawson. So again, that's kind of where the offense is running from for Dallas, would be those 3 guys. Now, taking a look at their rotation last game, you saw those 3 main guys play a good amount, right? Prosper, 29 minutes, Williams, 31, AJ Lawson, 29. I think your safest probably is Brandon Williams. He's playing the point guard position. He just has the highest floor of the group, right? Just because he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Where Prosper and Lawson a little bit more scoring dependent. I mean, they can grab some rebounds, but I would say they have a little bit of a lower floor. But all 3, I think, have a pretty high ceiling. Again, I expect Williams to be the most popular of that group. Prosper probably the lowest owned since he struggled the most in game 1. The other starters were Sharp and then the rookie Ajinka. Ajinka played 24 minutes, had a decent game actually. He's more out there, like he's a solid defender. Didn't have like amazing stats overseas. 9.5 and 3.5 rebounds in 26 minutes a game. I think he's playable, but not someone I'm going to go out of my way to play. Sharp, again, he started at the 5, 4.4K, played 23 minutes. If he starts again, I think he's a fair value play. Off the bench, you had Whaley play the backup 5, and he is, where is he? He's 4.7K, 17 minutes. Another reasonable contrarian value. I think that Sharp would be the better point per dollar, or like the safer point per dollar play, assuming he starts, but Whaley not completely out of play there. But yeah, that's basically Dallas. Now, Memphis. So we got to keep an eye on the status of Zach Edey. He's missed the last 3 games now with an ankle injury. Again, the 2 kind of pre-Summer League games. He played in the first one, and then their first Vegas Summer League game. So that is pretty big news for this main slate. Now, the one positive I will say with Memphis is they've been running a very tight rotation like this whole Summer League. Pre-Summer League games and even in the first in day 1. So if Zach Edey does not play, you're going to see Trey Jemison shift in the starting lineup. So last game, they started Jemison at the 5. He played 29 minutes. Pippen, 29 minutes. 34 minutes for LaRavia. 31 minutes for Cam Spencer, who I think is like legit like a good player. And then 32 minutes for G.G. Jackson. They technically played 9 guys. Timmy Allen only played 2 minutes, though. So basically an 8-man rotation. No one off the bench really played a ton. Drew 11 minutes, Wells 17, and Miller 15. So yeah, a lot to like here from the starters. The only downside I will say is just the price points, right? These guys are priced up, but they're priced up for a reason, right? They're going to play big minutes, and this Memphis team is one of the best, if not the best team right now in the Summer League. So again, Edey news is huge. If Edey's out too, I will say it's a slight bump up in usage to the other main Grizzlies, because Jemison's not the same type of player that Edey is. But yeah, GG at the top at 9.5. You got LaRavia here at 9.1. I think both pretty solid spend ups. LaRavia injured that ankle in one of those pre-Summer League games, but he did play in the Vegas game, so he's good to go. Both solid spend ups. Again, they would both look better if Edey's out. Scottie Pippen, 8.7K. Should play around 30 minutes. Again, still going to get a lot of shots up. He's their point guard, so decent option there. Cam Spencer, 6.4K, 31 minutes. I think probably the easiest guy to get to because the price point, right? He played well off the bench in those pre-Summer League games, and then he shifted in the starting lineup in Vegas, so I think he's a solid option. Jemison, if there is no Zach Edey, I think is a fair play. If Edey's in, I have no interest in Jemison, and then that's really it. Not much interest in the bench guys like at all. So let's talk about Portland and Philadelphia. Portland, so I will say I think there's a chance Portland can change the starting lineup. So this is what Portland did on Saturday. So they started Clegane, Murray, Minaya, Rupert, and Kendrick Davis. McGowan's was on Charlotte in those pre-Summer League games, but he got signed by Portland. And I do think there's a chance McGowan's could start this game, possibly over like Kendrick Davis would be my guess. So we'll monitor that situation for sure. But yeah, Clegane at the top at 8.4K. I think probably your safest spend up here for Portland. Did not have a good shooting game. 1 of 8 shooting, but 27 minutes, 13 boards, 5 blocks. Again, obviously we know he's a guy that can contribute in a lot of different ways. So reasonable price point there for Clegane. I think no issue with him. McGowan's, I would only have interest in him if he starts. If he comes off the bench, you can't go there because he's obviously way too pricey. Chris Murray, I mentioned how he was one of the few props I missed on Saturday. Pretty tilted about that too because he played 30. It says 32. It was 33 minutes actually. Yeah, pretty tilted about that. 7.4K. More of a contrarian option, but not completely out of play. Minaya started, but only played 20 minutes. I know he had a good game in that time. 4 steals and a block, though. Don't think we can expect that. I'll probably pass. I think Rupert is a pretty good option in the mid-range. He played 32 minutes, 13, 6, and 5. Yeah, solid play there. Off the bench, the last guy I mentioned, Kendrick Davis. If he starts again, I think he's playable. He had some good stats for Golden State last year in the Summer League, playing alongside, some of those. It was like, Pajemski, Jackson Davis, had a few others. I forget who else is on that Golden State Summer League team. But yeah, Kendrick Davis. Lester Canenos, however you pronounce his name. Guy Santos too. But yeah, Kendrick Davis, if he starts again, playable value. But I do think there's a chance McGowan's could start over him today. And then that's really it. I mean, the only other guy I guess I'll mention is Kennedy Chandler, right? He was in the Grizzlies Summer League team for a year or two. He played 19 minutes off the bench, but that's about it. So let's talk about Philadelphia. Philadelphia, pretty easy to talk about. We've seen them in the pre-Summer League games, and then we saw them play Detroit on Saturday. They've been running a relatively consistent rotation, so starters, but the same starting five every single game now for 4 games. Bona at the 5, Edwards, Council, McCain, and Doughton. And the offense is really running through the top 3, right? Council, Doughton, McCain. Council 9K, Doughton 7-1, McCain 6-5. I think Council is the highest ceiling of this group. He's had a couple really big games, had 24 and 6 in the first Vegas Summer League game. He had a game where I think he went for like 30 real life points as well. So in the G League, Council was averaging like I think 23 points per game. So the ceiling is pretty high in him, but I think he's the toughest to get to of the top 3 just because of the price point. Where Doughton and McCain, I think, a little bit easier to get to. Doughton had a really solid game, 8 assists, 18 points, 5 boards. I think he looks pretty good in the mid-range. McCain will also do some ball handling, 11, 6, and 1. I didn't have the best game last time out, but he's had a couple big games in those pre-Summer League games as well. So I think those two are a little bit easier to get to, but I think Council has the higher ceiling. Bona at 6'3", I think it's kind of tough to get to him. He's really got to get there with the blocks, right? He's not good. He's more out there for defense, not really great offensively. So at 6.3K, more of a just a contrarian play. Edwards has been starting every single game. He only played 14 minutes last time out, though, so that's a little bit concerning. Off the bench, Aluma had a really big game, but I think that would be a bit of an outlier, 19 and 8. If you kind of look at these other pre-Summer League games, he didn't have like anywhere close to that. And then, yeah, you saw a few minutes for RJ Hampton, who's been around for a while. All right, let's move on to Utah and Sacramento. So Utah, we do have to keep an eye on one piece of news. So let me bring up the Jazz rotation from last game. Okay, so Keontae George, Walker Kessler are out for the rest of the Summer League. They're no longer playing. And then Bryce Sensabaugh got injured too. It was his finger, I want to say. He did not return, only played 12 minutes. So keep a close eye on that. It was Kinsey started the second half for Bryce Sensabaugh. Yeah, that is pretty big news to monitor there. I'll be pestering the beat writers, seeing if we can get some confirmation. But yeah, the starters last game, we got Collier, Sensabaugh, Williams, Hendricks, and then Filipowski, which was kind of the surprise. Again, Summer League, you have to be on top of it, and that's why again, I am just on my computer 24/7 refreshing. Like, I have so many tabs open, looking for news, Twitter, NBA, like looking for lineups. We got the Utah lineup like 2 minutes before lock. I was able to get Lofton out of my lineup because I thought he was going to start and shift in Filipowski, and that ended up winning me the tournament, right, on Saturday. So again, all that stuff, starting lineups, will be posted over on Patreon. Yeah, so looking at the price points here for Utah, you got Hendricks at the top at 8.3K. I mean, I think he's a solid option, but I think there's better point per dollar plays in Utah. I'm not saying you can't play him, but some of these cheaper guys think look a little bit better. One guy that does stand out is Collier, 6.1K. Now, he's had a couple big games when Keontae George was playing in those pre-Summer League games, but yeah, he's going to start at the point guard position at 7 assists, 28 minutes, 6.1K. I think he's a very solid option. So Filipowski started at the 5 over Lofton, but they basically kind of just split the center position. Only 20 minutes for Filipowski. That was his best game in the Summer League, by the way. In those pre-Summer League games, he really struggled. And then Lofton actually closed over him and played 20 minutes. Lofton's the much better point per minute guy at the 2. Keep an eye on the starting lineup. Maybe there's a chance Lofton starts over Filipowski. If he does, I think Lofton will look really good in that scenario. But if they both split the center position and Filipowski starts, then neither are must plays. Williams kind of struggled in his pre-Summer League games, but he finally had a good game shooting 9 of 15, 1 for 31 fantasy points. Totally reasonable play there in the mid-range. Other options, so Sensabaugh, if he does play, I think would be a good play in the mid-range too. If he misses, that would open up a little bit. Again, they started Kinsey in the second half last time for Sensabaugh, 4.2K. So he didn't have like huge numbers in the G League, 11, 3, and 2 in 30 minutes, but he's also close to the min price. So if he starts, he would be a playable value there. Other guys to mention off the bench, Darius Bazley. So he's been around for a while, right? 5.2K. He played 20 minutes. I think he's still playable off the bench. Again, he was on the Thunder for a while. And then Jacob Preston will play the backup point guard position. He's the flat min price, but he only played 13 minutes. So he was in the Clippers for a few years. That's basically it, though. I don't think there's anything else to mention. So let's move on to Sacramento. Sacramento got killed last time out. Also, they extended the bench, but I think that's just because that they were getting killed against Memphis, just because Memphis is so good. So Sacramento technically put 11 guys last game, but in those pre-summer league games, they were basically running 8-man rotation. So I don't read too much into that rotation last time out for Sacramento. They started Timmy, Mason Jones, Isaac Jones, Keon Ellis, and Kobe Jones. I do think that they could switch up the starting lineup, maybe start Luol Asul over Drew Timmy. We'll see. But yeah, Keon Ellis, I think, has the highest ceiling out of anyone on this team. Again, in one of the pre-summer league games, he went for 30 points. So, he was starting for Sacramento in the playoffs, right? So, yeah, I really like the ceiling there on Keon Ellis. And then I like the Joneses, too. So you got Mason Jones at 6'6", Kobe Jones at 6'3". Now, Kobe Jones only played 14 minutes. I don't think he got injured. I want to say he just got benched. I'll take a look at it on Twitter. But I don't think he got injured. And then Isaac Jones at 4'5". So Isaac Jones started, played 27 minutes, 4.5K. They have him listed as a guard, even though he's more of a big. I think he's a solid value if he starts. Mason Jones, I think, is a really good point guard play as well. He'll be playing a lot of the point guard position. So I think he looks really good. And then Kobe Jones, assuming he's good to go and starts, I think is a fair play as well. The center position, I mean, Timmy, in those pre-summer league games, he would play I think he played 20 minutes, 17 minutes, and then one game he played 30 minutes. In the first Vegas Summer League game, though, he only played 13 minutes. Luol Asul came off the bench, played 13 minutes. We'll see if they do the starting lineup. I think they could switch out Timmy, so we'll monitor that. But yeah, last guy to mention, I think, would be Boogie Ellis. He's been coming off the bench and chucking. A reasonable contrarian play. Also, Xavier Sneed, he played 24 minutes off the bench. He's 5K. Our last game here, we got Boston and the Lakers. So Boston also has a pretty good summer league team. They lost to Miami, who has a good team as well. But Jaquez is I think only has one more game that he's going to play in the Vegas Summer League before he gets shut down. But yeah, Boston, they started Springer, Davison, Shireman, Walsh, and Queta. The minutes for the starters were amazing. 25 for Springer, 29 for Davison, 24 for Shireman, 25 for Walsh, and 23 for Queta. Now, looking at the price points, of the spend ups here for Boston, let's just say it's Shireman, Davison, and Springer, right? I think Davison probably has the highest floor just because he's playing the point guard position. 7 assists. So this is year 3 now for JD Davison. So, and he also played the most minutes out of anyone at Boston. So I think he's probably your safest spend up of the main Celtics. Springer obviously has a pretty high ceiling, 23 real life points. He'll play some guard. He'll do some playmaking as well, I should say. And then Bailey Shireman, the rookie. Again, he had a decent game too, so playable, but I think Davison's probably the safest of that group. Queta, he was on the normal Boston roster. He only played 23 minutes, but still a really solid game. The price did come up on him, but still decent option. Walsh was the one starter that struggled. He shot 1 of 8, 25 minutes. I think he'll be the lowest owned of the bunch, but still playable. In the G League, he was averaging, I think it was 15 points, 6 rebounds a game. Nothing crazy, but fair play there. Off the bench for Boston, not a ton. They played 10 guys off the bench. Watson was the guy that played the most, 20 minutes. He had 8 points, 2 boards, but he's 6K, so I don't think we can go there. All right, finally, we got the LA Lakers. So Lakers, I believe they lost every game so far in the Summer League. And don't get me started. In one of those pre-Summer League games, I had a bet on the Lakers, and they were playing against Miami. And this was before Hawkins was playing. Miami shut down. They didn't play any of their main guys. Ware sat. A few other guys sat for Miami. So I got Lakers money line at plus 175. The Lakers were up by 8 with 2 minutes to go. The Lakers were up by 8. They're winning the whole game, right? I'm like, oh man, this is a lock to hit. Let's go. Nice value here. 12-0 run from Miami to end the game with the scrubs. Beat the Lakers, who the Lakers had all their main guys playing. Still in rat piss from that. Not just piss, rat piss. But yeah, so let's talk about the Lakers. Lakers started Castleton, Coos, Lewis, Bronny James, Dalton Connect. They're in a solid rotation, 9-man rotation. Starters decent minutes. Connect played the most, 30. Then Bronny James 27, Castleton 26, Coos 25, or Coos 24, Maxwell Lewis 25. So Connect is the most expensive player here at 9.2K. He had a really solid game. He kind of struggled a bit in those pre-summer league games. So I think more of a contrarian play, not out of play. Obviously, we know the ceiling is there. We saw it last time out, but definitely not a must. Castleton, 8.1K. I think probably has the highest floor of the starters just because he can do a lot with the peripheral stats. He had a really solid summer league last year for the Lakers. He can kind of do everything. Good rebounder, get some assists, get some block shots as well. So they have most of small forward, power forward, even though he is a center. So pretty safe play there. Bronny James at 6K did get 14 shots up. Has not had really great numbers in the summer league, but the price point is still kind of tough to get to. But again, 14 shots is good to see. Now, the other starters, Maxwell Lewis at 5'7", he has really struggled with his shot so far, but I think he's a fine contrarian play. Coos, the other starter, 5.3K. He's a chucker as well, playable there. A couple of guys I wanted to mention off the bench, though. So, not really interested in Trahor or Hinson, but they did pick up two vets, the Lakers. That would be Moses Brown and Trent Forrest, and they're both a flat min price. So I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with Moses Brown. He was in the Thunder for a bit. He was in the Blazers. He backed up Castleton. He played 13 minutes. He is a really good point per minute player. And in 13 minutes, went for 8 points, 5 boards, 3 blocks. So at the flat min price, I think he's playable. And I also think Utah legend Trent Forrest is playable too. He played 24 minutes off the bench. He's a point guard. He has a relatively high floor. So flat min price Moses Brown and flat min price Trent Forrest, I think are in play for value. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the video. Again, if you guys are looking for more content, you can check my Patreon link down below. We'll be breaking down that early turbo slate, videos, roster construction videos for both those slates, player pool, live stream before lock, Discord access, all starting lineups posted on Patreon. So if you guys are interested in that, again, check it out. Highly recommend it. We've had a lot of success through 3 days. All right, if you guys do enjoy the videos, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you all in the next one.